What's going on, everybody? It's the Al Diggity Dog, probably the author of the year, potentially the author of the century. In this video, we're going to talk about my book, The Sharter, A Millennial Journey Out of Hip-Hop Hypnosis by Al Dog. Autographed copies are available at aldogbooks.com. It's available on Amazon. The paperback ships April 5th. You can get the Kindle right now. Now, we're going to talk about the book, my approach towards writing it, why I was inspired to write it. We're also going to talk about the fact that, I'm selling this book online, but if I don't get sales online, I go out and I get them. I go to cafes and things of that nature, and I cold approach people and I say, hey, have you read any good books lately? And I say, hey, you should check out this book. This is what it's about, blah, blah, blah. Oh my God, I wrote it. And then I make the sale on the spot. So the bottom line is, you guys who are watching this right now, you should get the book, get the autograph, get the paperback, get the Kindle, whatever, I don't care. But if I don't get sales here on YouTube, I go out and get them because I feel that strongly about this book, and I enjoy that, sort of guerrilla approach towards cold approach sales. It's kind of fun. Sometimes it's not that fun. Okay, anyways. So the book, The Sharter, A Millennial Journey Out of Hip-Hop Hypnosis. Clearly that is somewhat humorous and somewhat ridiculous, right? It's a published book, not even self-published. I'm on Trine Day Publishing. So the book, I grew up looking up to Eminem and 50 Cent. Now, I still have some reverence for those guys, but the bottom line is I grew up a huge hip-hop fan. Like, I've been to concerts. You know what I mean? I've been to Wiz Khalifa concerts. I've been to Lil Wayne concerts. That's just a fact. And looking back, it's all so ridiculous. The only thing you could compare it to would be maybe guys who grew up listening to hair metal in the 80s, right? They look back and they're like, oh my God. You know what I mean? For men of my age who are now beginning to snap out of hip-hop hypnosis, and particularly the generation that is younger than mine, who is fully encapsulated by hip-hop hypnosis, this book is actually really important because it takes a humorous approach, a satirical, allegorical approach towards potentially the most pervasive poison in our society. And now I also want to make something really clear before we start talking about the book. It's not just hip-hop music. It's more so media the last century that I'm really making a comment on. Country music glorifies alcoholism and idiocy, while hip-hop promotes obesity and opiate abuse. That's what hip-hop does. And if you think of your prototypical hip-hop fan, you probably think of somebody who's totally obese, wearing designer belts, and is addicted to opiates, right? That's what hip-hop sort of produces, in a sense, right? Where country music, it's some heartbroken moron who is, 3 payments behind on his truck. That's what country promotes. And baby boomer rock and roll, it's no better than both of them. No better than either one of those, I should say. Baby boomer rock and roll is just as trash. It's all trash for the most part. That being said, it might sound good once in a while, but I think it's absolutely absurd to be listening to this stuff all the time. Okay, so for me, I was always fascinated by, the deaths of Tupac Shakur, however you say it, Biggie Smalls, even Kurt Cobain growing up. I was like, wow, these things are a little fishy. What's going on with that? And then as I got older, around the 2015, 2016 time period, I'm still a huge Lil Wayne fan. His tour bus gets shot at in 2015, and I was completely obsessed with this situation. It turns out the person who shot at his bus was an accomplice or an associate rather, of Young Thug. And we all know how that turned out. Young Thug is currently in quite a bit of trouble. Yeah, he's in jail, and it looks like he's going to be there for a while. It seems. So anyways, I was really into that situation. I ended up doing a little pamphlet on it. It didn't really work out. And then from there, I'm at work. This is around 2017, 2018. And these guys just keep dying. You know what I mean? In the 2017, 2018 time period, there was Lil Peep, XXX Nipsey Hussle, Mac Miller. And this was all in sort of a short time frame. I'm like, wow, all these rappers are dying all the time. And so for a while, I was studying this as an anthropologist. I would dive into sort of the conspiracy element of all of these deaths, whether it was somebody potentially was financially incentivized to off these guys, potentially just drug use, just the lifestyle, just the culture. Maybe it was a ritual. I would dive into all the different layers of all these different deaths for a while. And it was in doing that I kind of realized that, yeah, a lot of these guys are kind of low-life losers, and a lot of this entire culture is fugazi. The entire culture that's being created here is rather disgusting. And it got so dark, the research, that I was like, you know what? I'm going to satirize the entire scene. And then the Sharter was born. I couldn't get the idea of a brown cover with the title The Sharter out of my head. So I was like, you know what? I had a bunch. I had like probably 100,000 words. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to turn this whole thing into a satire. I'm going to turn the whole thing into what it needs to be. A humorous narrative about a group of millennial friends who grow up as hip hop fans, right? And there are these famous rappers killing each other. There are these record executives who are plotting. And then you got these cops who are planning on taking justice into their own hands. So there's all these different plots just intertwined in a fictional, hilarious narrative. So that's what The Sharter is about. That's how it came about. And now it's just a matter of people buying the book and enjoying it. People have been buying the autographed copy, and the feedback I've gotten is excellent. Excellent. People have told me, hey, this is the first time I've enjoyed reading a book since middle school. Another guy told me, actually my editor down in Texas, he told me, he's like, I had to leave the room at one point because he's an English teacher. He's like, I had to leave the room at one point because I was laughing so hard. I was like, okay, cool. So the feedback has been excellent. The feedback has been outstanding. The paperback ships April 5th. Get the Kindle now. Get the autographed copy if you're a real player in the game. So yeah, that's pretty much how the book came about. And I do believe that this is probably the book of the century. If at least it's definitely the book of the year. Okay. And probably the book of the century. I'm an author. I hope you enjoy it. I got another book coming out this fall, but this one, man, this one is probably the book of the year.